With the VALORANT VCT Pacific League currently underway, you may have tuned in and wondered, who the hell are all these teams? And I don't blame you, there are quite a lot of teams and players for you to remember, and not everybody is as well versed in esports as I am, and some of you may not know the history behind some of these teams and players. That's where I come in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Push to Talk, the series where I, Lewis, talk about particular topics in and around the gaming sphere to help keep you guys in the loop. So in this episode, allow me the privilege to educate you guys a little bit about your favorite teams and players, or maybe your future favorite teams and players. But before we get into that, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this, and obviously ding dong that notification bell to be notified when we upload next, because we upload videos every single week. Alright, with that out of the way, we can finally get into some Valorant. Alright, let's go in alphabetical order because it just makes sense, starting with DetonatioN FocusMe. DetonatioN FocusMe, or DFM for short, is a premier Japanese esports organization that got their start off in League of Legends. The team was originally called FocusMe and they got picked up by Detonation Gaming. Originally, it was only the League of Legends roster that was called DetonatioN FocusMe, but in 2022, they rebranded the entire organization just to be called DetonatioN FocusMe. Now, in Valorant, DFM fields a team of mostly young guns who got their come up in Valorant, namely Zinfree, Anthem, Suggest, and Soldam. But they also have two veterans in ZETA and Takej, both of whom played for the most dominant Japanese CSGO team, Absolute, but at different times. The team has always done well domestically, but never securing the absolute top spot, which actually goes to ZETA Division, who we will talk about later. Definitely a team worth watching, especially when Suggest is popping off. Next up, we have DRX. DRX is considered to be one of the best teams in the world right now, not only just in the Pacific region. The organization DRX is extremely storied as they've gone through many name changes throughout the years. If you know anything about OG StarCraft teams, then you may have heard of Incredible Miracle, which was founded back in 2010. In 2016, they became Long2 Gaming, then later rebranded to Kingzone Dragon X, and then later Dragon X, and then now DRX. The organization got their come up in StarCraft, but shifted their focus towards League of Legends towards the latter half of the decade, eventually winning their first ever and only World Championship in 2022. So the org is pretty well established, but what about the players? The roster consists of Buzz and Marco, along with Stax, RB, and Zest, the latter three of whom used to compete in CSGO and at some point played for one of the most dominant Korean teams in CSGO, MVP PK. The team has progressively gotten better with every other international tournament, with their best placings being at Champions 2022, where they placed 3rd, and then the most recent VCT lock-in, where they placed 3rd to 4th. So on paper at least, they are the best team in the Pacific League. So if you're looking for a team to bandwagon, then maybe consider DRX. Next up, we have another renowned esports organization that is most famous for its League of Legends roster, Gen.G. If you can't tell already, about half of the teams in this league got their come up in League of Legends. The org came into fruition in 2018 with the acquisition of the 2017 League of Legends World Champions, Samsung Galaxy. Originally known as KSV Esports, they later rebranded to Gen.G in 2018, Gen.G being short for Generation Gaming. The roster consists of in-game leader TS, formerly of OnSlayers, a Korean team that was on the cusp of being a top team. Gen.G's 6th man GodDead also played for OnSlayers alongside TS. Prior to that team though, TS also played for Talon Esports alongside current teammates Echo and Meteor. Then there's King, a former CSGO player who teamed with the DRX boys back when they were MVP PK. And lastly there's Sylvan. Formerly known as Rastal, Sylvan originally competed in Overwatch. To me, Gen.G is around middle of the table right now, but they do have the potential to be second best in the league. I just can't really see them overtaking DRX. Global Esports is the next on our list, and they kind of live up to their namesake as they are probably the most diverse team in the league. Hailing from India, Global Esports has fielded teams in numerous titles. The reputation they've garnered is comparable to that of the football club Manchester City, as they are seen as the Indian org who has money. During their come up though, they were actually more well known for hosting tournaments, but eventually the time came where they began sponsoring teams themselves, starting with an Overwatch team in 2017. Since then, they've grown exponentially, fielding teams in CSGO and Overwatch, as well as hosting even bigger tournaments. That's great and all, but what about the team? Well, like I said, they have a pretty large and diverse team. There's their in-game leader Erin, who is Canadian and previously played in North America for XSET. Fun fact, prior to this, Erin didn't get his start off on your typical FPS game. He actually came up on Crossfire, which is a Chinese tac shooter. Then there's the Korean duo in Duelist Texture, who previously played for Damwon Gaming, and then their initiator Bazzi, who previously played for Onslayers as well. Then there's their Smokes player and their sole Indonesian, Monyet, formerly of Onyx Esports, followed by their flex and substitute Ronsky. He's a mixed Australian Laotian former CSGO player. And lastly, we have the dynamic Indian duo in SK Rossi and Lightning Fast. Their coaches also hail from Korea and the UK, so like I said, pretty damn diverse. So if you have no national attachment to any of the teams in the Pacific League, then maybe just support global esports, as I feel they just cater to everybody. Next up are my boys, PaperX. I'm sure they don't need an introduction, as if you're familiar with Valorant then you probably know who they are, but you may not know about the history behind them. PaperX is a team that originated from CSGO. Founded in 2020 by legendary Swedish CSGO player DSN, PaperX aimed to be the best Southeast Asian CSGO team. When Valorant released, the roster that you know and love actually stuck with CS, so the org opted to pick up another roster which didn't see much success. The CS team also didn't see very much success. Eventually the CS team made the move over to Valorant, and well, the rest is history. The roster has dominated the Southeast Asian scenes since they came over, and they have surpassed international expectations as well, with their most notable achievement being placing second at Stage 2 Masters Copenhagen last year. By now, we all know their roster, but in case you are unfamiliar, then let me give you a quick rundown. Their IGL Benkai is infamous for his comical walkouts on the international stage. Then there's Benkai's longtime Malaysian teammate from all the way back in CSGO, Davai. Then you've got the young guns in Jing, the team's flex, and their star player Forsaken, who is actually the younger brother of one of the best Indonesian CSGO players, Xcurate. And to round out the roster, you have fellow Indonesian Mindfreak. They also have two substitutes, one of which is Cigarettes, a Thai player who's mainly a streamer rather than an actual player at this point. And then they just picked up Russian player Something, who literally a month ago was playing in Japan for Sengoku Gaming. I'm not too sure how they're going to implement Something into the lineup, but I know for a fact that he's most likely going to be the sixth man. So I'ma just say, keep an eye on PaperX. Next we have Regum Qeon, or RRQ for short, an extremely well-established Indonesian esports organization. It's honestly no surprise that they made it into the Pacific League given how much they've actually done for Indonesian esports. The team consists of 3 Filipinos and 3 Indonesians, the 3 Filipinos being Iman, EJ, and 2GE, and the 3 Indonesians being Xfero, Flipsider, and Elmi Moore. Now, they are by no means a bad team. Skill-wise, they definitely deserve to be in this league, but I can't help but think that they are probably the weakest team in the league right now. But hey, I'm all for being proved wrong. Next is another team that doesn't really need an introduction, T1. T1 is one of the biggest esports organizations in the world and is home to the 3-time League of Legends World Champion, Faker. So obviously they are an extremely successful organization. That success, however, hasn't really translated to Valorant. Like Gen.G, they actually had the options to either play in the North American League or the Pacific League. We now know which league they chose. Their roster consists of a mostly Korean lineup, starting with ZETA, who is a former CSGO player. They also have 3 former Overwatch players in Munchkin, Saya player, and Carpe, the latter of which is dubbed to be a prodigy of the game. And then there is their 6th man, Intro, who is another Korean player to watch out for. And to round out the roster, the only foreign player on the team, Ban. Although he's an American national, he's actually of Korean descent. So this is technically an all-Korean roster. Definitely keep an eye out on this team, as I firmly believe that they have the highest skill ceiling in the league. Next we have Talon Esports. Although they're the only Thai team in the league, Talon Esports is actually a Hong Kong East esports org that was founded in 2016. But the most interesting part is actually to do with their roster. Formerly under Zersha, their roster was the 2nd best Southeast Asian team for the longest time, never being able to quite overcome PaperX. The roster consists of Crows, Foxy, Sushi Boys, Partipan, Garnets, and Jit Boys. The player that you need to watch out for though is Partipan, or as he's now known as, Pat. Pat was an Overwatch prodigy who unfortunately was underage to compete in the Overwatch League. So while he was underage, he actually began competing in Valorant, where he made a name for himself alongside his teammates, but last year when he came of age, he switched back over to Overwatch. After spending a year in the US playing for the LA Gladiators, he has now returned to Thailand, where he will now be returning to Valorant. He is currently recovering from an injury, so he might not be at his best, but when he is, trust me, you do not want to take your eyes off of him, because when he is at his best, he will be one of the best players in the league. Second last on our list is Team Secret, a European esports organization that gained notoriety in Dota 2, fielding many teams throughout Southeast Asia. For Valorant, they opted to sign a Filipino team. Firstly, I want to talk about their captain and IGL, Jesse Vash. Along with being the oldest player in the league at 33, he has also competed at the highest level in numerous other games, such as Dota 2, League of Legends, Overwatch, and now Valorant. He also coached a top Mobile Legends team in Geek Fam. He is the definition of an esports journeyman. Coupled with him are two former CSGO veterans in Dubstep and Borkum. And then to round out the roster, they have their initiator Envy and their flex Jeremy. Definitely a team not to be taken lightly, and honestly, in my opinion, they are prime candidates to be dark horses. And last but not least, ZETA Division. In my book, the third best team in the league, ZETA Division never ceases to surprise. Originally known as Jupiter, they are comprised of one of the best Japanese CSGO teams, Absolute. Laz, Crow, and Barca are the only remaining members of that CSGO team still on ZETA Division. Rounding out the roster, they have Sugar Zero, a former Rainbow Six Siege player, Depp, an accomplished Overwatch and PUBG player, and 10, also a former Overwatch player. So there's quite a lot of experience on this team, and I feel that contributes to the success that they've had. They've managed to dominate Japan until now and have done relatively well internationally. So I'm really excited to see where they go from here. I hope that they can probably reach the top 2, top 1 spot, perhaps maybe dethrone DRX, but we'll have to wait and see, so I suggest that you guys keep an eye on them as well. And that's it for this episode of Push 2 Talk. Do let me know who you guys are going to be supporting in the VCT Pacific League down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you guys have any other suggestions for topics you might want me to discuss, then feel free to leave it down there as well. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this, and obviously ding dong that notification bell to be notified when we upload next, because we upload videos every single week. Thank you all for watching. My name's been Lewis from Kakuchopurei, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao for now.
Just goes ahead, clips Foxy9 in the head just through the corner there. The rest of the team now looking forward. They do have the alarm button in mid this time, and they're talking about it. Lass finds the shot. Now Mako dead and assaulting these sites without your smokes.